The situation is, in 2007, they started having problems across the street with their homes, and I started having problems too. And first thing I found out is that the city had bought the six townhouses across the street from me, and the two on Orchard View. I called the city at that time because I was starting to get problems too. I have a big crack on the ceiling. I have cracks starting on my walls. My ceramics keep breaking all the time. I have to get them regrouted every year, redone. It's not just where I walk underneath my dining room table. It's all cracked. I have to get that replaced, and they were quite expensive to put down to begin with. Well, when I called the city, they told me that they weren't in the market of buying houses and that it wasn't their problem, that our side of the street was not affected at all. So finally, a few years later, I wrote another letter. I contacted Miss Graham at the city, and I wrote another letter saying that I thought the city was using unfair practices because they had paid to engineers to examine the other houses and they weren't doing it for me. So finally, they hired a company, and the engineer came, and as far as he was concerned, it was a problem with the dike, I believe he said. And there's nothing I can do. This was my retirement money. This was my retirement home. And now, the way it is, I can't sell it unless I fix it. And there's no foundation company that wants to do it. I called two or three. I got one person said, no, we can't do it. Our lawyers told us not to touch it because we're opening a kettle of worms, because if we lift yours, we have to lift next door. We have to lift the whole block. The thing I'm worried about is that I'm getting on in age, and I can't afford. The city sent me a paper at one point saying, seeing that the city is partially responsible for your problems, we will pay. I have it here. But you have to do the work yourself. And she actually told me to go to the bank and get a mortgage on the house. Who's going to give me a $300,000 mortgage on a house that's only worth $290,000?